wrote and performed for the Florida Marlins. And listeners of Minion Death Cult will appreciate that this is happening in Florida. There's a nexus point in history that just revolves around Florida, and Scott Stapp is part of it.
He's a Florida guy, right? The Creed is a Florida band, I believe.
Yeah, I believe so.
There a lot of butt came from Florida. I mean, I think a lot of butt came from maybe the Midwest, but I think a ton of it came from Florida too. You know, you guys.
Yeah. Song is called Marlins We Will Soar.
Let's play ball, it's game day. Base hits, double plays.
Double plays.
Put me in, coach.
Marlins make us proud. Come on, Marlins make us proud.
Did they commission this song? Is that?
I don't know how it worked. I don't know who asked for what.
I just wonder. It's like, if he just wrote this, it's really, really embarrassing. Like, because he's like,
double play, no rain delay.
Hot
just like
dogs.
Throwing in every baseball phrase he could think of.
Hot dogs, hopefully they're warm. Yeah. Wow, he's embarrassing as hell. So let's move to other, because I think
the song is called Marlins We Will Soar.
Yes. I think we've pretty well covered that section, that post-grunge, strange, like Creed, that part of the thing.
Can I make one request before we close the book on?
Sure.
Well, I mean, maybe we'll get to this. I was going to bring up, like, as the prologue to Creed being Seven Mary 3, as far as like the direct precedent for Scott Stapp voice.
Yes. I'm
funny.
so glad you brought that up.
Yeah, you and I, Tony, came to Seven Mary 3 on this episode independently because I had a list of bands and songs that made me like that evince 90s butt rock to me, and it's cumbersome. Like the fake deep voice and cumbersome, and then Brian sent me, I think it was your playlist of like songs. I was like, "There's cumbersome." That's right.
Let's get some cumbersome though.
Yeah, let's hear it, please.
I fucking can't tell you how much I love this song.
It's fucking great. It's so good.
Oh, that right there sounds good. But then when his voice kicks in, it goes off. Here it goes.
Yeah, man, you already know it.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing short.
Yeah.
Welcome back. Feel me?
Yeah.
Chat, what up?
Yeah. I defend myself in court. This is sport. I get signals from the source. I can twist and I contort. I just feel like I'm a Porsche. I'm Carrera. I defend myself in court. This is sport. I get signals from the source. I can twist and it contorts. I just feel like I'm a Porsche. I'm Carrera. Lies to the judge, rain in the sky and the sea might rise. What slides to the mud, slides to the flies from all kinds of the minds. Reporting live from the hive and all sides of the sludge. One deep, meditate, one street, separate. High to the Crips, goodbye to the Bloods. But it was the souls, the lords and GD, segregated by the street and the shy where I was. Got wise to the nudge. Why buy a tub when to buy you a flood? Better buy you a sub. How you gonna survive in the club? You gonna kayak it cuz when it rise up above and the waves come and push and the titles a shove? What's the infrared dot to a whole.gov? Look right in the eyes of a thug, look dumb street shit don't apply to the plug. In the court. This is sport. I get signals from the source. I can twist and I contort. I just feel like I'm a Porsche. I'm Carrera. I defend myself in court. This This is sport. I get signals from the source. I can twist and it contorts. I just feel like I'm a Porsche. I'm Carrera. Error. I wanted shots, headshots. Cut off all my dreadlocks. I ain't want a head wash no more. What you mean headshot? Nigga said headshots. Nigga like a helmet with a GoPro. But I mean go 13. Genius cause the verse mean. Remember we earthlings. Nigga, can you put that in slow-mo? Hope so. Headshots, brains in a pan. So that's a no-no. Might not get it, but it's dope though. Matter of fact, local. Surrounded by gang members and a lot of popo. That's real, but it might sound like a joke though. Never know. Keep both sides in the chokehold. I just wanted credit. Used to sweat it like show clothes. Now I don't even know who wrote those. Maybe my ghost knows. But we both cold. And I used to write on my ghost flows. Wrote each other solos. Now the nigga say he want co-pros. Money from the shows and rights to the logo. Do you want a lawyer? No ho. I defend myself in court. This is sport. I get signals from the source. I can twist and I contort. I just feel like I'm a Porsche. I'm Carrera. I defend myself in court. This is sport. I get signals from the source. I can twist and it contorts. I just feel like I'm a Porsche. I'm Carrera.
I defend myself glorious. This sport gets signals from the source. Twisting guitars, just feel like I'm a Porsche. Just like a Porsche. Yes, I'm Carrera. I defend myself glorious. Yes, the sport gets signals from the source. Twisting guitars, just feel like I'm a Porsche. Just like a Porsche. Yes, I'm Carrera. Signals from the source, twisting guitars, just feel like I'm a Porsche, just like a Porsche, yes, it's Carrera.
Here is our first clip from Mancow and Kristen Davis.
The sign of real intelligence, self-deprecating humor, able to laugh at oneself. I'm not very good at that, I have to be honest with you.
I think that's my favorite thing he's ever said, because he said the real sign of intelligence is self-deprecating humor. I'm not very good at that, to be honest with you.
That could be the most honest thing I've heard him say.
Yeah, that was a moment of self-realization that does not happen very often with Mancow.
No, but there's more to this.
But I have a sense of humor, and I have found that people that don't have a sense of humor are the regular people, salt of the earth, the morons, the dipshits. And really the masses, many of them they have no sense of humor. And in Chicago, the ones that don't have the sense of humor are also drinking lead in their water for real. And they're real stupid. Yeah, man, keeping it real. Yeah, you're not keeping it real. You're keeping it real stupid, real violent, and real quick to violence. And that's what lead does in the water. That would be one thing I would campaign about. But
So if he does make the decision to run, okay, then that's something you got look forward to. I'm going to Chicago if he does announce his governor run, because I'm 99. He keeps hinting at
like you're moving there. You're saying you're moving?
No.
There?
Yeah, I'm moving there to volunteer for him. Actually, I have to go door to door for him. So here's a little more.
Not one girl with implants.
What's my type?
Okay, so he for some reason asked this woman what his type is. So
exactly the type of girls that work for me.
No, do you remember my type? I told you.
Yes, brunette, small-chested, and petite.
Close. No, I tell my wife, I said, listen, if a guy shows up at the door and says we've been doing anything, you can laugh and slam the door. If a tall blonde shows up, you can laugh and close the door. If a petite brunette shows up and says, wait till I get home before you throw my shit out.
That's right.
That
funny.
is my.
Yeah, people can hear me on the phone call, and I'm not voting for Hillary Clinton. Don't
You're
do that.
live.
I'm live.
You're
I'm
live.
here. Hello, everybody. How's it going? We are here. It is Street Fight. I am doing this by myself tonight because I have never done a podcast by myself. So I thought I would try it. And so that's why we're here. You can't call that a flub because it wasn't me that did it. I was doing all good. I had a really, I'll tell you what happened. I was playing Legos downstairs, and my brother Jason, a producer of the show, texted me or called me, one of the two. I don't fucking know. He called me and was like, "What are you doing?" The computer's turned off at the office. So I jumped in my car. I drove all the way to the office, turned the computer on, and then had to hurry up, come home, and then do all my pre-show shit. And now I'm here. I made it though. I'm doing it. So that's something to be impressed about. It has been, yeah, I do think I'm the only one that can flub commie mommy. I flub a lot. Oh, the audio's doubled in the queue, Jason. Just
Trying to figure it out now.
Yeah, Jason's working on that. Okay, it's okay, everybody. Let's all fucking calm down. We don't need to take it out on me. Okay? I'm here. I'm working as hard as I can to get you guys a show. I'm trying to fix this camera so I don't look like a fucking floating head. If people could see how my camera is on a like a thing, right? Like a tripod gimmick. But the type of thing that I use, I'm frozen now. Okay. The type of thing that I use is like I don't know. It's like a tripod, but the Logitech camera has this little piece inside of it that has like threads in it. I don't know what they call that, but it has threads in it. and it's gone. And I would say, just doing Street Fight, right? Like I would say this is my fault because I break everything that I own in the whole world. You know, I'm very well known for breaking things, except for, you know, one thing, the Shure SM58 microphone that I've had for years now. I've never broken that. But I've had 3 of these Logitech cameras. Every fucking they're 1080p. Well, that's good. That's what people are looking for, you know. I've had, I look psycho in the YouTube, so everything's great. My arm is like, Jason, I'm frozen now, and you see me behind me. Oh man, this is going swimmingly right now. So yeah, this Logitech camera has a weird like thing, so I used painter's tape to tape it to the thing. So it's just wrapped around painter's tape that doesn't have like actual, it's not sticky or anything. You know how, yeah, I know, I was a floating arm. That's not fair. Okay, I'm here now. Okay, nothing else can go wrong this episode. I can guarantee you nothing else can go wrong because I'm a genius. Sorted all the Legos in my office today, getting ready to sell some. If people were looking for Legos, coming soon. I'm selling some. I don't know where they're at or how, but I plan to sell some. So I asked people to call because talking to yourself is a crazy thing to do. So I kind of was like, when Brett said he wasn't going to be able to make it, I was going to get a guest. I had a weird bit of, I don't want to say social anxiety because then everybody's like, oh, the ketamine treatments didn't work. And that's not like what it was. It was like a weird bit of, I don't know. I don't know who to ask. I don't know. So I just didn't ask anybody and was like, can I do a podcast all by myself? And it turns out I can't. Jason is helping here. And everything has been going wrong since I started. So we are going to go ahead and get on these phones and just, the callers are my co-hosts is what I like to say sometimes, you know? So we'll go ahead and get some callers on, see what's up with them. It's time. I'll hit the talk button. Thank you for calling Street Fight. Who am I talking to tonight? Hello? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Can the callers not hear me now? Okay, can the listeners hear the caller? Because the caller... Oh, no.
I didn't hear him either, so give me just a second or whatever. You're just going to have to talk. Sorry.
I return them to the queue. I will try another one real quick, but it doesn't sound like it's working. Thank you for calling Street Fight. Who am I talking to tonight? Okay. So the calls aren't working. That makes things exponentially harder for me to do. I have everybody's on hold still. They're saying they heard the caller. So I don't know. I'm not hearing the callers on my side. And Shot Gaming, who is a chatter, says they can hear the callers. Compelling audio I'm doing here. It's as good as it could possibly be going. Winners and losers in the chat said they heard the second one too. They think it's me that can't. I can't hear the callers, Jason. And Twitch can't hear the callers either. So I don't know what's going on here. I'm vamping, but I'm gonna run out a lot of stuff to say to myself. But yeah. So this is oh, Jason, they can hear Jason, they can't hear the caller. So this is crazy. I don't know what to do. Wish there was something I had planned. I didn't plan anything because I was just like, you know what? I'll have the motherfucking I'll have the callers co-host with me. It'll just be me and the callers just hashing it out, fucking solving all the problems, creating socialism. I think socialism we'd be creating, maybe just really fucking going heavy on problems and hearing about people's jobs, and they maybe hear about my jobs. And what? Okay, somebody in the chat, meme cam says, just turn it to Lego talk. Yeah, go ahead, chat. Ask me questions. I'll answer some questions. I apologize for this. I don't really know what to do right now. What's the best Limp Bizkit album? I think this is a young man's. There is a young man's answer to this question. I can hear that. There is the young person's answer to this question, which for me would have been $3 Bill, y'all, which was so good. But I think as I'm older now, I'm going Significant Other, actually. So yeah, my favorite Limp Bizkit album was Significant Other. And they also, Brian, I was in Denmark the other week and I almost went to Billund, aka the birthplace of Lego, but my coworkers wouldn't let me. You got to quit that job. You got to fucking quit that job. Okay? Fuck that. Denmark. It's in Denmark. I always thought it was Norway, but fuck, Norway could be in Denmark too. You know, I wouldn't fucking know. But yeah. If I go wherever I want to go, like I never want to go on a vacation to a place that is cold. But the Lego place is a place I would go to. I really believe I should go to the Lego place. You want me to try a call, Jason? Oh no, I lost Jason now. I'm losing everybody.
You didn't lose me. Hey, you can try a call, like, right? Everything looks like it's set up properly. Like, I don't know what the deal is right yet. So you can try one.
Thank you for calling Street Fight. Are you there? Oh yeah, I hear you. I hear you. I do hear you.
Good.
Who are we talking to tonight?
Heard you the whole time. It's great.
Oh, how's it going? You know, really good show, I think.
Oh no, it's wonderful. I will never. I mean, the flub is a running joke, but I'll never. I think it's meant in. It's never mean spirited. I think.
I don't believe people think it's a mean spirited thing. I don't feel like it's mean spirited, except for from Chris.
No.
When Chris does it, it's mean spirited. But when other people do it, I see it as very kind, and it's something people know about me.
I think it's fun. It's endearing.
Yeah. For sure. So who are we talking to tonight? What's up?
You didn't hear me when I introduced myself the first time. It's Ryan, by the way. Yeah.
What's up, Ryan?
First thing, I know Brett does it, but I want to plug the Patreon real quick. Your Patreon. It's so good.
Go for it.
And the catalog that you get is amazing. I'm not paid to say this, but I'm a former evangelical myself, and the Holy Boys series is some of the best radio I've ever listened to. And Tom is just
crazy stuff.
So
he's great. And you know, evangelicals are nuts.
Do it.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying evangelicals are fucking nuts. And if you're doing, I don't know, it's funny because it sucks to say this, but I think people that listen on the Patreon all the time, the patrons, I don't know why I'm saying it so weirdly, but I feel like the patrons get that it's a freak it's more almost like a freak show, but of main, a lot of the stuff is super mainstream that I like to talk. I like to talk about
really,
stuff
really
that was mainstream.
Mainstream
in the past. I always feel like weirdly I do these crazy niche things on there, but like right now, right? I'm reviewing movies, but I'm reviewing movies that made a ton of fucking money. It wasn't I'm not reviewing indie movies, you know?
Yeah, I was going to mention that too, because I've never seen Point Break or some of the movies that you reviewed, but to me, it's almost funnier to hear you talk through the plot of them and I get to like imagine what the movie's like, and I'm like, wow, this really is bad.
There's some tough ones. I mean, I think the only ones you guys have heard are Red Dawn and Point Break. Nightmare on Elm Street is the first one that fucked me up. Like, it's the first one that was like, this fucking sucks. There's so many things that I do, like, there's so many things that I do where it's like, I don't mind listening to shitty stuff. That's not like a big problem that I have out there, but like,
clearly.
I like, sometimes you get yourself in a situation where, like, you know, how bad can it be to watch Nightmare on Elm Street, the reboot? It's only 90 minutes long, and then you're halfway through it and you're like, oh, it can like be really bad actually to have to do this. It can suck extremely badly. So that's one of the worst movies I've ever seen. I would say.
I
yeah.
haven't seen any of the ones that you have reviewed, and I don't think I will now. I think I'm content with just hearing your descriptions of them, to be honest.
Do you avoid bad stuff? Because there's like a lot of people out there that are like, I avoid bad stuff.
And that's why I think that's why I enjoy what you're doing so much, is because you don't have that tendency. And so like I can have someone do it, you know, and then I get to hear about it, but I don't have to experience it myself, which is great. I know I guess I pay for it, but it's very good value to me, you know?
Well, reading. So when I do these episodes about the movies, it's like really fucking weird that, like, when I do the 5-star reviews, right? Because like a lot of like really shitty movies have really high audience scores, which leads me to believe that, like, I mean, people actually kind of like shitty movies.
Yeah.
Like the
Some of
mainstream
reviews do
taste
sound
is
like,
shit.
Oh, I spent money on this. I have to like it, and because they all sound really defensive in the comments or in the reviews, because I think they know it's not a good movie, but they have to be like, oh, contrary to what the quote critics, you know, say, this was actually a very good movie. You know, so.
They are so confrontational, Ryan. I mean, it is nuts when you go on one of those sites and you're like, when you go on Rotten Tomatoes and you start looking through, and you can look at any movie that's rotten, you know, it like, even if it's like a 50%, which is like, when it comes to reviews, I think a 50% isn't even like really that bad, you know? It just means the movie wasn't perfect. Well, it means it was half good. And people get so mad about that, even that level, where it's like, I don't get why you're so tied up in, like, I mean, the same thing happens with the Marvel stuff. Every day you see people get real mad about the Marvel stuff, and then you see other people get really mad because people are really mad. And the way I always think about it with the Marvel stuff is like, you fucking won. Like, every movie is Marvel stuff now. You fucking won. Why you gotta be so mad? Why you gotta make everybody have to like it? I don't want to like it. I want to hate it. I want to hate everything. I want to go into everything hating it first and then making me like it at the end, which is the opposite. When I started Street Fight, one of my main philosophies when we started this show was like, I don't know, I think it was maybe in the era of poptimism, where like, if it's pop culture and if it sells, then it must be good. And it was like, it got like so out of hand where it was like, you know, you can't say Iron Man 3 wasn't great without people saying like, oh, you just fucking don't understand it. And it's like, I fucking perfectly understand Iron Man 3. It is not a hard thing to fucking understand. So I don't know how I got off on that, other than the fact that I'm watching these horrible fucking movies. And you brought up the Patreon. Yeah, get on our Patreon. We need people. We need some people to come in there and I have, from 2018 to now, I have been doing some of the crazy, I would have to say, from 2018 to currently, I've been doing some of the craziest shit in podcasting. And I'm not bragging, I promise. I never feel good about myself in that way.
Well, real quick, if we got time, Burls in the chat just said hating
Plenty.
stuff feels so good. So that's a story that I want to tell really quick. It's a very quick one, but it's very hate inducing. So I was at a sub shop the other day. This woman was in front of me. She was maybe like, I don't know. I'm hard at judging people's ages, but maybe like 70. Right? It's a place where it was Jersey Mike's, so it's a place where you can like, you tell them what you want, and sort of like Subway kind of. But so
Bro,
she's
I
at
haven't
the
had
register.
Jersey Mike's. I haven't had Jersey Mike's in 2 decades. It
20
would
years?
have to be 20 years since I've had Jersey Mike's. Yeah. My wife used to say it was the best sub shop in the world. That this is
think so.
before we ate at real places. But
Okay.
like
Okay.
yeah, but back when we used to be like, it's time to go out to eat, and it's like, you want to get something fancy? Yeah, let's fucking go to Applebee's. Like that was the mode we were in life. But like, yeah, she loved Jersey Mike's, and I probably ate there like 4 times. Like I have nothing to it. But so there's a 70-year-old, an old lady. We just say old. You're allowed to say old lady
Yeah.
on this show. I'm sorry, I don't care if it's problematic.
She was pretty old. She was pretty old.
Yeah.
So in Jersey Mike's, not the best subs in the world, but sometimes you just get, sometimes that kind of sandwich just hits. So I was there. She's at the register. She's paying, and she has a single dollar bill in her hand, and there's a tip jar. And she like has it between her index finger and her middle finger, and she's like dangling it. And she goes, I would have liked more lettuce, but that's okay. And then she puts it in her pocket, takes the sandwich, and walks away.
You can't do that. You can't do that. Oh my God, I'm
also,
furious.
you watched them make it. You could tell him you didn't put enough lettuce on it. Can I get some more? And lettuce too is the thing that she wanted more of. I don't know. Where I was going with that, but I had to tell someone.
I read a whole thing earlier in the week about this woman was working at Subway, and she's telling a story about like a weird moment that she had while she worked there. And it was a woman that came in and was just like, I want mayonnaise. So she does this strip of mayonnaise, and the woman's like, more, another strip, more, another strip, more. And it's just like, I was reading that and I was like, it's so gross. Like, you should, if you want that sandwich, make it your fucking self at home. You can put all the mayonnaise you want on it. Don't fucking subject people to your weird mayonnaise thing. I think in the end though, only $1, which also makes her look incredibly bad, to people. Well, I don't think anybody's tipping only $1 anymore. And I can tell you that way back in, God, I'd have to say it was a very long time ago. We're probably looking at like 5-6 years, 2016, when I was working at this cafe, and I'd be standing back there watching people tip. I mean, barely any. It had to be split with everybody in the place, right? So sometimes I would leave with like $4. Like $8, I think, was the most we ever got at the end of the shift. And you would see people be so mean. And then just like, yeah, if somebody was like dangling it in front of me like that, I would just be like, keep your fucking dollar.
You lorded your dollar over this 13-year-old cashier who's like, it's his high school job or whatever. Like, congratulations. I hope you feel really good about yourself.
You lorded your $1 over somebody. Great. Oh, seem like I'll bet you're a real joy to be around. I mean,
they're really good human. Yeah.
I guess growing up, like if you grew up at a time, because $1 was something when I was maybe 18, 19, 20 years old, where it was like, $1. Okay, when I was in 6th grade, people are gonna fucking make fun of me for this. When I was in 6th grade, cigarettes were $1.25 a pack. So like, there was a time where $1 like did mean something. Now, it really means like less. It's a penny now. $1 is a fucking penny now, and anything under $1. I mean, what are you gonna when you hand somebody 35 cents? Like when you hand somebody money, you should always take a little bit of time to think, what can they do with this money? You know, like, is there a thing what can you even get for $1? I mean, I understand if you don't have the money on you, but it also feels like she came in with $1 to tip.
Whip that out purposely. Yeah, like I'm gonna tip this nice boy $1. Oh wait, he didn't put enough lettuce. He wasn't even the one who made the sandwich. He's just the cashier.
Yeah.
So like, why does he care? Also, he's got to split that with everybody. I don't know.
Looking across the fucking room, like all these fine people are gonna get to these fine people can split $1. Like it's crazy. It's fucking nuts. I don't know. I have heard people from overseas and like people from here complain about how we have to tip like everywhere now. Basically, it's really the iPad cash register has that section for being able to tip, and like I would never say that I love tipping, but the people working are not getting what they need with just regular money.
It's like a necessity. Yeah. I don't like ever view it as like, oh, this is my way of exercising some, I don't know, like my feedback or whatever. No, like I'm going to give you extra money because you don't get enough. And I've been traveling a lot international lately for work lately. And it is, I mean, I got to say, it's super nice you get your bill and you pay it and then you're done and you walk out and you know that they're probably, hopefully they're getting paid enough such that you don't have to tip them. And if you do tip, it's like, wow, that was really fantastic or something. You know what I mean? So
I was listening to a wrestling podcast like 2 or 3 months ago. These people from England came over to watch a pay-per-view in Las Vegas. And they were like, it's absurd and all this stuff. And I'm like, number one, motherfucker, you're in Las Vegas. Like, there couldn't be a more expensive place in the world. Maybe New York. But even in New York, there aren't several places to go where you can just hand them your money and walk out with nothing. So, like, yeah, like New York and Chicago and Vegas. It's like, Vegas is a tipping place. The place fucking runs on tips. Don't go to fucking Vegas if you can't tip. It sucks. We shouldn't even be on this tipping shit anymore. It should be fucking over. It should be totally. Go ahead.
Yeah, you mentioned cafes. Cafes are. I see people now that we have the iPads. You can see what they're tipping, right? People, I feel like they don't tip anything for coffee. Does Gwen make good tips, or like is it just this thing that I'm noticing? Or I see like 0, or like they'll do the default like 10% or whatever, which ends up being, I don't know, 10 cents or something like that. It's like,
yeah, she's talking
is that a theme,
like,
or is it
Well, I'll tell you, because it was pretty shocking to me a couple of weeks ago. I don't know what she was talking about. She came home and was like, they get paid their tips on a separate day from their regular wage, so they get paid at the beginning of the week their tips, and the end of the week they get their wage or whatever. And I was talking to her Monday night. We were kind of chilling, and she was like, I got so much on tips. And I'm like, well, you get like, what's the tip situation looking like over there? And this is over a week, $45. She made $45 over a week, and that's split, and she works at a super small place, so she's splitting it with almost nobody. Like if she's working, there's one other person working, and that might even be, she might be the only one working because it's my neighborhood is a pretty quiet neighborhood, and it's just kind of like a place where they have coffee. It's like known as the like, oh, this is a place where they have coffee shops. So there's kind of one by my house. So that's the one she works at. But yeah, $45 over a week. And I was kind of like, kid, that's not very much. But you know,
Seem like it.
yeah, no, because it's over a week. It's like you would think, I don't know, because when I worked at the cafe, I kind of felt like maybe the tips were like gonna be a helpful thing, because I was really making like minimum wage. So I was like, it'll be nice to get these tips. And then at the end of the shift, when I would get tipped out, I would get $5. And it's like, that's nothing. That doesn't help me even a little bit. So yeah,
it's like,
$45
what
is
does
a
it
good
get
week,
you?
I guess. Yeah. Well, Ryan, thank you for calling. It was very good to talk
have
to
a
you.
good
You got
show. I think it's going to
anything?
be a good one.
I hope.
No,
I'm
I
trying.
think rough start, but I think hopefully you can carry it through. I have faith in you.
It's looking up, baby. Thanks for calling.
All right. Yeah.
Peace. All right. Next call. Thank you for calling. Street Fight. Who am I talking to tonight?
This is Krills.
Who?
Nice to talk to you.
Nice to talk to you. Who am I talking to?
Like Grills,
Krills.
but with a C.
Oh, Krills. What's up, Krills?
Yeah.
How you doing?
Yeah. I'm good. How are you? Well, you're doing great, is what I want to say to you.
Nobody has to tell me I'm doing good.
Like, you're doing great. Just keep it up.
Anybody who's listened to Shocktober knows that I've said people that record podcasts by themselves are psychos. So that's why I decided to try it, to see if I am a guy that can record by myself. But I'm taking calls. Doesn't really count. Not psycho enough. One of these days I'll be psycho,
like,
but not here.
You keep on like subjecting yourself to all that psychic trauma that you do to research for your shows, and you will be psycho soon enough.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, like I said to Ryan before there, it's like I don't think of it as like trauma or something like that. I think of it as like these are absolutely mainstream things. I'm not deep diving into anything crazy.
It's so dark.
I know, but it's not it is not a deep dive into nutty. It's not like I'm like, oh, I'm really good at finding weird things. None of this stuff is that weird. It's all stuff that is
it's like we all just have to look away. Like we're actually all actively looking away from this. Like, don't look at that over there. Just don't look over there. You won't like it.
I really like exposing younger people to stuff that was like kind of, a bigger, like Shocktober is, so Holy Boys is really about exposing me to stuff, right? But Shocktober is about showing people like, hey, there was this big mainstream thing going on for a long fucking time. You should check it out. Just letting people know, like,
dad,
things are different.
A total liberal listened to Rush Limbaugh when I was a kid, like growing up. Just he was, he's a really interesting guy, but he really liked to hear the other side of the debate. So he'd actually listen to Rush Limbaugh, and so I've heard my fair share of that fucking guy.
I can't stop. I mean, I listened to him, like, in all seriousness, as I've said before, back in I don't know, 2003, I would say. I was a daily Glenn Beck and Rush Limbaugh listener because I didn't know that they were. It's very hard if you're not savvy about politics, it's almost impossible to know that they're biased, because if you're a dumbass, right, and you're like listening to this thing that you think is news, right? Like, that's the thing about this stuff is it's the radio station it's on in Ohio, the right-wing radio, is called News Radio 610. So I kind of thought I was like a huge news head, and I was like really like, I was listening to the news. I'm like, oh fucking yeah, I'm smart. I'm a news guy now. And like,
dude, it's no
now,
worse than how I thought I was a news head when I was listening to NPR like 5 years ago and getting all my news from NPR. Like, I was like,
yeah,
I know what's going on.
And you read like that. I think it was that piece I did on the Basement Show when I was out of town, which I wish it was when I was in town, because I don't know if people listen to that show or not, if the audio was good or whatever. But like, I read this NPR article about a couple coffee shops unionizing, and you're fucking sitting and listening. Yeah, you're reading that, and you're like, you start thinking like, fuck, man, there was so many years where it was just like, hey, you know, this is where intelligent people go to find out what's going on in the world. Which is
it's true,
crazy.
It's true. But I liked the Felix tweet from this week where he honored some of the, you know, radio that like wasn't the news coming from NPR. That was really cool, because I did grow up listening to Car Talk and hear them get a shout out as like, you know, kind of a proto podcast 40 or so years ago. I mean,
it's so funny. It's so funny. I did not even know about Car Talk until it was sort of
oh my god
too late for me to be into Car Talk in a way. Like, it was kind of like the only thing. This sounds so fucking stupid, man. I'm going to tell you what I liked on NPR. NPR happened a year, maybe, before Street Fight was my NPR phase. Maybe, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
I was really into All Things Considered. Like, be in my car in time to hear All Things Considered. And then also that other show, man, the Ira Glass thing, which I think something happened when I got when I was on early on in Twitter. Somebody pointed out some of the Ira Glass stuff, and what did it for me was, so at the time, I'm a dishwasher, right? And I don't know how this happened, but I was listening to a This American Life about a dishwasher where they were treating it like it was a big romantic job, which is something leftists like to do on Twitter a lot too, where they're like, roofers, they're salt of the earth. And it's like, none of them want to be fucking roofers, dude. I did it for years. They would much rather be doing anything else. But because they're hard.
Dangerous.
Yeah, they're hard and like dangerous. And like, he's like, the money, you know, he makes this, they talk about this romanticism of this job this fucking guy has. And it's just like, he doesn't even care how much he makes. And it's like, you motherfucker, no. It fucking blew my mind, because I've never in my life, never worked at any crummy job. And I've never worked at any crummy job and then been like, this is really romantic. I really like this. I'm glad I'm learning a lot about myself. And the people that learn a lot about themselves through like by being dishwashers have to be people that already have the money. You know what I mean? Like, I can go home.
You like
because
your job
like
now, right? At least learning
right,
about yourself there.
But I do like my job now. But like, I'll say that like, my wife did for a long time was really kind of bringing home pretty much all the money for a period. And she does not like her job. Like it's not her favorite thing to go do what she does. She does give me like a ton of information about like white collar work and stuff like that is very pertinent to me.
It's
and
hard to
I
sell your
get
time to somebody else.
It is. It absolutely is. And there are times, dude, there are fucking times where I'm just like, I don't want to fucking talk at all. And that I see that as like the whiniest thing that I do, where it's like I worked and worked and worked and dreamed, driving around in that cable truck, just dreaming. One day, maybe I can get on the radio and be like Opie and Anthony and like all this stuff. Like it was just like, here's what I would do. I would
I
do
still want you
this.
to join that band that you were going to join when you were a kid. That's what I want. More.
I was in a band for like
more of the
2 weeks.
Ramble song. Yeah.
Oh, I was in a band for like 2 months, I think, but I was like, I liked drugs more than the band. And we performed live a couple times, and you know, the kid who
in 2
played
months you got ready to
drums-
perform live and did it a couple times. Shit.
Well, I sang.
That's
though.
awesome.
I was a singer. That's not like I was singing in this band. I wasn't like playing an instrument. I couldn't have done it if I had to play an instrument.
Were they originals
But,
or were you guys playing new metal songs?
Not new metal songs, because I was the only person in the band that liked new metal. We did, you know, it's funny. One of the covers we did only covers, but one of the covers was Headstrong by Trapped. We did cover Headstrong by Trapped, and we did Take on Me, but a like ska version that was ported over to a heavy metal version.
Dave Ferris.
Yeah, but they took that and did it in drop D. So we basically stole the idea to do a cover of a song and did it as a metal song. I think we did.
Good. I really like it.
Shit, I'm trying to Glycerine, a heavier version of Glycerine. Oh fuck!
Shit.
There's like
Give me a time machine. I want to see this show.
There's only 2 shows. Say It Ain't So. Maybe a Deftones song or something like that in there, but everybody in the band was like
classic,
more into punk.
That's great.
Yeah,
Okay.
everybody in the band was more of a punk fan, and I've talked a bit about this quite a bit on the POD cast, where like I didn't like punk, and I didn't like people that listened to punk until I was like way too old. Yeah, it's always so scary to say that on the show, but it's just like, hey, when I was going to high school, you know, I didn't like people in punk. I didn't like punk rock, and I didn't like skaters. And obviously, like a lot of that stuff changed, especially punk. I got into punk, you know, doing Street Fight. You get a lot of really great recommendations, and like, but this show kind of. And it's a really funny, like, it's really funny to think about, because this show, like, I reverse engineered being a punk fan, because like I started doing a show. Brett was really into punk, like growing up. And I started doing a show with Brett, and, you know, we knew we wanted it to kind of have that DIY aesthetic. So then I started like trying to learn about it. So I didn't even start to try to learn about punk
11 years
until
later, it still got the DIY aesthetic.
that's what we try. That's what we want. Hey, come on, A1C.
Yeah, you got it.
Somebody in the chat saying, Brian, I don't think you liked anyone. Hey, that's not fair. I liked like all the scuzz bags that I hung out with at the time. But no, I don't think I did either. Really. I was I mean, I think the thing that people will never admit to themselves, and maybe even people in our chat or in our audience might be too young, is that teenagers don't like anybody. Like they don't like anybody that's not like them. And so that
They also don't
really
feel
is
like anybody likes them. So that's like, it comes around too.
Absolutely. So now that I have now hijacked your call, what's going on tonight?
Oh man, no. I was actually I figured we'd talk about bullshit, but speaking of shit, I wanted to know if you've tried using Metamucil, because I feel like shitting should move up on your bodily function list.
It's not gonna happen. I hate it. I do use Metamucil, okay, and
You do, okay? Because I drink a fucking
do.
shitload of that shit every day, and I
too.
poop so good.
I know, but I don't like any of the stuff that has to do with it, right? Like if it was just take, and I have a bidet now, so some of these are outdated arguments. I will admit this, but I still feel this way now, so I'm gonna say it. Is like I don't like wiping. I don't like any of the things that have to do with it. That's the reason it's so
I don't
low
like
on my
wiping
list.
either, but I couldn't get the bidet because just I don't know, the water splashing on my butt,
it's great,
splashing back on the bidet, then splashing back on my butt. Like I know that happens. I know that happens.
I love it though. Yeah, yeah. But the thing is, like I guess the thing about it is like, I don't know. You can. Here's the thing. Without the bidet, and here's the reason. Here's the reason why. Pre-bidet, there were days they didn't quite get it right, and then I would go out and walk a lot of miles, and then you come home, and or halfway around, you start to realize, like, fuck, I didn't quite get it right. Like, I didn't get it all, you know? And then that causes like problems for the rest of your day. And that doesn't happen as much now, again, because I blast my ass with cold water. But like, it did back then, and like that's why I hated it. That is why shitting is so low on my list, and also farting. Just is embarrassing to me. That I don't like farting because
I am farting like a king now. I switched to a high bean diet this year, and like just like farting and farting and farting. I was watching Northman earlier today, and there's like a good fart part in it, and I was like, yeah. Oh man,
that's what I. But I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead. There's a delay.
Yeah, I just got it. I got it, and it changed everything. And then I know the first time I went on tour and there wasn't one, I was just like, fuck, this is so bad. And now I'm like, I'm a super lackadaisical wiper. So yeah, I just don't. I tried to do.
I'm gonna give the bidet a try, but I
tried to do the vegetarian.
I've had my objections for a long time.
I was a vegetarian for quite a while. 3 months.
Oh, that's right.
That's not very long. And I went back to meat because of the farting. Like I was just like, this is too much farting here. Let's lock everything up inside.
Oh man.
Lock everything in there. Get something in there to fucking plug the hole.
Yeah. Well, thanks for hanging out with me. I'll let you,
Thank you for
go,
hanging out with
I
me.
think there's a lot of people who want to talk to you.
Yep. Our queue's running. All right.
Before I go.
Go. You're still here.
Oh, I was just going to say thank you for Jake's been playing some Krills Wilson songs at the end of some shows this past month, and I enjoyed that.
Nice.
So it's making me want to make some new music because that shit's like 10 years old.
Great. Do it. Send it to Jake. All right. Peace. Dropping calls. I gotta drop the call. All right, here we go. I gotta do something real quick. Pop, pop, pop. Oh, wait. There we go. That'll work. All right. I say thank you for calling Street Fight. Who am I talking to tonight?
What up, Brian? It's Nick from New Zealand. How are you, man?
Nick from New Zealand. Nick sent me a treat. DM me a treat, and I need to hear a little bit more about this treat because, like, I looked at it and I was like, I mean, the way you described it made it seem pretty fresh, but the way that it looked seemed like it sucked.
It looks horrible, yeah. In New Zealand, we have lolly cake, and it's small, like we have like fruit puffs. Or they used to be called Eskimos. I think they're called Explorers now because it was kind of dodgy name. They're like soft lollies and not a baked cake, but just like a set cake of like crushed up biscuits or cookies.
Is it like Fruit Loops?
Like butter? No.
Or Tricks?
It's like soft sort of soft lollies.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I'll send you a photo of what they look like anyway. I'll send you a photo of what the lollies look, or the candy looks like, man, because it's kind of hard to describe otherwise. But yeah, we've got some, I think, like, you know, we didn't have a lot of international food for a really long time in New Zealand, so cuisine is just stupid.
Yeah. Well, you guys don't get like Tricks there or nothing? Like, I'm looking it up.
No,
I'm looking up what the Eskimos are. I know you're not supposed to say that, but they're it's a cereal?
I think they're called Explorers. No,
Explorers.
It's lollies, like it's like candy. I don't know what you'd call them in the States, but they're like super soft little fruit flavored lollies.
Boom, I got them. Pascal Explorers. Lollies.
And then,
they look like, to me, I can't tell if they're marshmallowy. They're soft, right?
yeah, they're kind of marshmallowy. Yeah, they're soft, man.
I can tell the American people what they are then. Circus peanuts. They're basically circus peanuts. And the cake is just full of lollies.
It's definitely like thicker than circus peanuts because I've had those here. They taste a lot nicer, but the texture is probably pretty similar. Yeah.
Yeah, circus peanuts, man. Those things. I loved them growing up. And then I don't know what happened. It's the same thing with eggs. Like, I ate scrambled eggs like once or twice a week growing up. And I haven't had scrambled eggs since, I don't know, the 90s. Probably. I just decided one day I don't like eggs. And then I haven't had them since. So,
yeah.
It sounds like that's what I do with circus peanuts. Yeah. That's what I was with circus peanuts. I was like, I had my grandma get them for me all the fucking time. And then one day it was just like, fuck these circus peanuts. I hate them. And haven't had them since. But I'm also, you know, I change my mind all the time. It's all I fucking do. I love that you guys call candies lollies.
Yeah, we call them lollies, man. But like with everything, American words start becoming more prevalent, you know, because it's just on TV. So like, younger kids just get candy.
I feel like I need to order some lollies now just to get a good look at them. You know, I mean, the place I'm looking at is like
DM me your address and I'll send some overseas, bro.
Really? I will DM you my address. I'll try
man.
some lollies. Yeah, some Pascal candy. So what's up, Nick?
We've got some good stuff in them. I before I forget about it, Saki Gasoline asked me to weigh in on the new Lord of the Rings, and I'll say that I liked the first three, like the ones from 20 years ago, and I haven't watched any of The Hobbit, and I'm not going to watch any of the Amazon stuff at all. I just don't care. It's not that it's bad. I'm just lazy. I don't watch much.
It's gonna look like shit. It's on Amazon, which you're like, Amazon, you got enough money to make it look great, but
Why
they
don't
won't
they make anything good?
I don't. Well, Reacher's great. I will give Reacher.
Have they done a good TV show?
Yeah, Reacher's good.
I need to listen to your podcast on it, man.
People like The Expanse quite a bit, and I did too. But the fucking thing is, like, I fell off as soon as the Amazon season started. I was like, I hate this show. It sucks. But I liked it at first. So Amazon took over this show like 4 seasons in, and it was like, hey, I love this show. And when it came back, finally, I was like, oh yeah. And I, was like, kind of, I'll strap in and watch this thing. And I made it through, like, I think I watched 4 episodes before I was just like, I can't watch this anymore. I don't like this at all. But I mean,
I remember, I think it was like 5 years ago. There was a John Goodman show where he was like a senator who lived in the house with a whole bunch of other Republican senators. And that was Amazon Prime, and that was pretty good.
Betas or something. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, Amazon got to be one of the worst. Fleabag is okay, but I think my favorite things. Huh?
I think it was.
What was
BBC,
that, Nick?
Wasn't it?
Yeah, but we get it on.
The BBC. Yeah.
Yeah, we get it on Amazon. They like bought it over. We get a lot of like shows from other countries that they end up on our streaming services. So like a lot of the BBC stuff ends up like kind of weirdly going viral late over here. It's like the BBC thing that I watched that was bonkers is called Years and Years. It's the weirdest fucking show I've ever seen.
It's not good, man. It's not a good TV show at all.
It's the worst. It's
if you want a really good New Zealand show, and the big star in the Boys, the New Zealand actor Anthony Starr. There's a TV show where it's set in West Auckland, which is like the real bogan area of Auckland, and it's called Outrageous Fortune. He plays 2 characters. He plays twins. And it's a really good TV show. There's like 7 seasons. Probably the best sort of sitcom drama from New Zealand, I'd say. I think you'd really like it, Brian.
Anthony Starr was in one of the greatest shows of all time, Banshee, which is, if you've never seen Banshee, see it. It's the best. It's just like a show about like...
Yeah, I should follow up on that, man.
It's fucking funny. It's a show about a guy that pretends to be the sheriff of a town, and really it's just fight scenes, car chases, and sex, like nudity. It's just really an excuse to do all of those things, and every fucking episode is more insane than the last. That's probably one of my favorite TV shows that like not everybody has checked out is Banshee. Warrior's really good too, which is made by the same people.
If you're into that sort of stuff, Outrageous Fortune is really similar. I think you really like it. I just wanted to call in to talk about finally, like, New Zealand has finally sort of liberalized medicinal cannabis, and I don't smoke weed, and I haven't for like 10 years because it was giving me mad panic attacks. That like I did a virtual consult online, like over Zoom, last week, and then on Friday, and just this morning I've had like the CBD oil dropped in the post. So I'm going to give that a go this evening and see if that helps with my anxiety.
So you're allowed to, you can go to dispensaries and shit?
Yeah, it's not a dispensary. Like, it just comes through your normal pharmacy, like, drugstore. But like you've got to pay full price. It's not subsidized, so it's like $200 something for like 30 mils of CBD oil. It's outrageously expensive, but like once it becomes a little bit bigger, it should drop down in price.
You should make sure that if you're doing CBD, that it does have THC in it. I know that you don't want to. I know that people think that it gives you the panic attacks, but in order for the CBD to work, it's got to have THC with it too.
Okay. Well, if this shit doesn't work, man, I'll give it a go. I've already paid for this whole fucking thing of it, so I have to try this first. But
when did they do it? So it's medical.
Yeah, man.
So it's medical weed there. but you go to the pharmacy and they just hook you up with some weed?
Just like, I think it's normal, your normal GP, your normal doctor can prescribe it. But I think finding the actual stuff is pretty hard. I'm sure I've not gone about it the best way, but yeah, it's a little bit confusing because it's so new.
It's like pretty shocking to me that it's pretty shocking to me that the United States is like one of like 3 or 4 places that have weed now. Like, I would have thought we'd be like the last motherfuckers.
In New Zealand, we like the cops basically said we're not going to prosecute anybody for possession of weed. So you can just get it. Like, there's no issue finding weed, but you're not going to know what it is. It's all just like, you know, as strong THC stuff as possible. So I think with I don't know, we had a vote on it last year. I think we talked about it previously, and it went like 2 years ago. So it went like 49, 51% in favor of legalizing weed. So we just lost out on it, which is a shame. But like, you know, if you want to go buy an ounce, like you can do it within like a couple of hours. Like it's real easy. Everybody gets smoked weed.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. It's just really nice to be able to go to the store and buy it and not have to worry about getting pulled over with it, you know? Because that's like,
for sure, man.
Because there were so many places here that were like, we're not going to prosecute it, but that doesn't mean that like the cops can't harass you for it. And then also like,
totally.
You know, take you in. They can take you to jail, and yeah, the prosecutor's not going to prosecute for it, but like, I mean, you still went to jail and had to go through all that shit, you know? Yeah. And they just made it a pain.
And you'll throw it away as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. I mean, I drive around with mine like I'm supposed to have it in a trunk, but I just throw it in the console and just, I don't care. I have my medical card. Can't bust me.
The other thing that I wanted to quickly talk about was that I just found out this morning, and I'm on a secondment at work, which is finishing up in a couple of months. But we found out that like the bonuses that we get paid, like when you get hired for my job, they'll say this is how much you're going to get paid per year, and you will get a bonus at the end of the year, based on your performance. So they sell it to you like it's part of your salary, and like everybody takes it on board. But for the last 2 years, we've only had it once, and it was like 30% of what it should be. I've just heard this morning they're not going to pay it out again this year. I've also heard that the company's posted a $350 million profit. So I'm not in a great mood about my fucking.
They can't get that kind of profit. I gotta tell you, they can't get that kind of profit if they're giving you bonuses. That's where the issue comes in.
Yeah, I guess so, but like if you did the back of the napkin math, like even if they paid full, and it would be like 30 million or something. So it's like, I don't know, man. Like either way, and you probably did right, but it's really fucking annoying. Like especially with me going back, losing like 15 grand a year, and like the interest rates changing, so we're gonna have to pay another like $400 a fortnight on the mortgage. Like, it's real fucking rough, man.
Yeah, it does suck. Things are real rough here too. You're hearing people talk about like, it's mostly New York people talking about their rent going crazy. But my brother and his nephew just got hit, and it's like if one fucking thing happens to you, you're fucked because rent's going up like by a lot. Yeah. It's fucked. Well, Nick, thanks for calling.
Yeah.
I gotta get the rest of these calls. It's always good to hear from you.
Look me that address, and I will post you out some lorries and stuff there.
Sick. All right, man. Thanks for calling. Pop. Drop the call. Bye. Yeah, lollies. They call their candy lollies over there, which I like the name, so I'll go with that. Got go ahead and answer this next call. Ba-ba. Thank you for calling Street Fight. Who am I talking to tonight? Just the B-Dog.
This is Timothy from Los Angeles.
What's up, Timothy? How's it going?
It's going pretty good. I had a couple quick ones, and then I was going to talk to you more about Jonathan Gresham. I wanted to talk to you about what you thought, with,
you don't want to talk to me about that.
Discourse stuff. No.
Here's the thing.
Oh, go ahead.
Here's the thing with me. If how can I explain this? If most people like it, I'm probably on the other side. Actually, I don't know with the Gresham thing. Like, I'm going to say this, and for people that don't know, Jonathan Gresham was a champion of a company called Ring of Honor that got bought by a billionaire. Yes, a billionaire. But
yes.
If that makes you nuts, I hate to tell you about everything you watch on TV, actually. But he bought the company. He gave him, I don't know, 4 or 5 shots on TV. And I thought they were all bad. I think if you can't get a good match out of Bandito, that's a huge fucking problem. So like, I just feel like, yeah, I feel like he maybe got a little big, and this is not a short joke either. Okay. Big for his britches there. And it was just like, sees himself as somebody that is, I don't know. I think people gassed him up too much because I don't think he's that good. I don't think he's been good. And I feel bad saying it because, like, people jump all over him. But the other thing about it is if you're like famous or even semi-famous or anything like that, like, you have to accept the fact, especially in something like pro wrestling, that people are going to say like mean stuff about you. That's just part of life. And, I don't think anybody deserves to get bullied, but like the dude really plays into the things that get you treated like that. You know what I mean? Like, deletes his account after he loses a fake wrestling match. That's an insane fucking way to act. That you're mad because you lost a fucking fake wrestling match. It's insane. But that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, well, no, I meant more the drama stuff, so that's perfect. I mean, I think his wife may have been a bad influence on him on how he acts on social media anymore.
Yeah.
Because he used to be fine and had like a okay reputation, especially like from people in England. But you speak about gassing him up. I mean, he has been a much worse wrestler since he bulked up. Like, clearly getting on the gas has not helped. Plus the personality side of things has not been great. So yeah, that's what I meant more. I wasn't going to talk about the match.
Yeah.
The match obviously with Claudia was good. It's good,
I don't want to like take people. There's a thing that happens. I'll say this on about wrestling Twitter. There is a what's the word? Like, there is a thing where people like, I don't know. I don't want people to think that I'm taking the side of a billionaire, right? But again, I have to look at who does something I like and who does stuff I don't like. That's what entertainment is. And I hope the guy makes a living in wrestling forever. I really do fucking feel that way. But like, I just think that like, I mean, you're gonna be good at what you do in that world, right? Like, when I say you don't have to be good at what you do when you're like a cashier or so, when you're settling on a job, right? Like me, we always talk about how like on this show, we always talk about how like I was a bad employee at every job I had. That is because I was settling on those jobs and I didn't give a shit about it. Now, if I was a bad employee at this job, I don't know. I wouldn't people wouldn't listen at all, ever. That's just the way things work. And with entertainment, that's the way things work. I mean, I make less than a lot of people that do things like me. And I just take that as I'm not as good as them. But
I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. I like I said, I have a weird thing about wrestling with me. Like my taste is generally not the mainstream taste. But listen, here's what I'll say. In sometime in August, by the end of August, I will have a podcast called Everything Beast that is a wrestling podcast where you will get to hear plenty of my insane opinions on wrestling.
Yeah. Well, I had you on my podcast to talk about AEW Revolution, so I got an earful of your takes in the past. So,
I'm an insane human. Yeah, I'm an insane person.
Which is fine.
I'm not taking, again, it's weird because it's like you don't want to take like I said, I don't want to take the company's side, but I do think that it is things like this, it's like, it's hard. You're not guaranteed a spot. You know what I mean? And I don't know, you're just not guaranteed a spot in a place like that. And there's a lot more people that when given the chance, for example, I'll just say this, guy I don't like at all, never liked, not one single match, Jay Lethal. It's just a guy never liked any of his matches for years and years and years. I think he's been pretty fucking good lately and impressing me. And I am fair enough to say I shit on this guy for fucking years. And then I think he's cutting good promos. I think he's doing good wrestling. I think he's been really fucking good and he's earned a spot. You know what I mean? And I think you have to earn a spot in that kind of world because there's a million people that want it. And that's the reason I do, that is my goal is to just have a spot. I guess I want to have a spot. So I try to work as hard as I can. But sorry about that. I'm insane.
Lethal's an interesting one though, because his match last night was not his best work. But you talk about having the attitude or working for a spot. He's a guy who could have a bigger attitude than Grisham does, because he's clearly getting devalued now to being obviously second banana to Satnam Singh, and he's just going along with it. And like you said, he's working hard on it. He's not putting on the boo-boo face and doing that whole thing. So again,
I hate the boo-boo face, by the way.
Don't want to side with the billionaire.
Yeah, I hate the boo-boo face, though. I've always hated it. Yeah. But I promise that
it's so fucking obvious.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's just crazy to see. So what else is up? I don't want to get in trouble.
The quick stuff. Episode last week, or I think Wednesday or something, you mentioned about dogs, big dogs, small dogs, and living in the city and all this. And I used to think the same way that you did, but you actually had it backwards, and I found this out from firsthand. Bigger dogs are better in smaller spaces, and smaller dogs are bigger or need bigger spaces. It's counterintuitive, but
so
I got
big dogs,
a pit mixed dog. Yeah.
So when you say that, I would assume that bigger dogs have to run, need space to run. You know what I mean? They don't need space. I guess when I do see big dogs, I'll say this. When I do see big dogs, I do think they're lazy. But I don't know how much space anything needs, Like I said, I'm not a pet guy. So I just always assume the smaller, if you live in the city, the small dogs can run all over your house all day. The big dog is kind of, I don't know. I feel it just, to me as a dude, okay. So they're saying in the chat, small dogs need more exercise, but a big dog well, I know they still take up more space, but I'm saying like, do they need more space to run? You know?
No. Like Great Danes, I've known a ton of people who have Great Danes, and those dogs just lay around on the couch all day and don't do anything.
Well, what's interesting about that is this is one thing I can speak on, as a former, I grew up with a Great Dane in the house twice. Actually, we had two of them, and my parents actually have Great Danes now, so I do know about them and what that dog would do. I'd be laying on a couch watching whatever fucking TV. I brought this up earlier this week. I'd be laying on a couch watching the Beverly Hillbillies movie and just like really enjoying myself. And then this dog, this fucking huge dog, would take off running. There were 2 sets of steps. He would run down the steps, come around, jump on the couch, jump off the couch, run back up, go upstairs, go back around. And like he would do this thing. And that's where in my mind was like, okay, this dog shouldn't have lived in this house. It should have been somewhere bigger, you know? And so I don't know. I think also when it comes to big dogs in the city, is like I kind of feel, I would say this. I kind of feel like everybody wants to, and everybody says they probably do. And I'm not saying people are mean to dogs, but I would say that I believe that most people don't walk their dogs enough. I just in my mind, I just can't picture a world where people are walking their dogs enough. And that's one of the other reasons why I'm nuts about sort of big dogs living in the city, because I know that people don't do it. They just don't, like, I mean, dude, people don't walk their kids enough. And it just is one of those things. It's a very weird thing. It's a hang up I have, because I also am not a dog guy or a cat guy, or like I don't like any animals. It gets me in trouble at least once a month on this show.
Right. Yeah, no, I know that, and that's why I was like, you know, I have plenty of experience. The first time ever I got like a tiny dog. Now my wife works for like a giant pet store, like a boutique specialty pet store where they like do all the fancy stuff. You know, like people call it like Whole Foods for dogs, basically out here. And and it's the exercise thing for sure. Like the physical size, that's one thing, whatever. But like, I mean, people live in very small places. People crate their dogs and stuff. And my experience having a terrier for the first time in my life is like that dog needs way more exercise than a big dog. So like, you know, the city, whatever, walking around, all that stuff it's I think again, it goes back to the basic point, like you're saying. People need to take better care of not just their dogs, their kids, and themselves. Nobody walks as much as you. Like I ride my bike around, but most people aren't getting any fucking exercise. It's not really about the city or not, and you know all that.
Yeah. I do think though there is something about the city, as a guy that's lived in, I guess as a guy that's lived in the city for longer than I lived in the suburbs. I do think that we, like people that live, you know, downtown or in cities, do tend to walk more. Now, I'm saying that as a guy who does walk a lot. And if I can walk somewhere, I walk somewhere. But I do have people in my family, like my brothers and sisters pretty much all live in this neighborhood. And we all live within a few, like within a 20-minute walk of each other. And my brother and sister never fucking drive. I mean, never walk anywhere. If they got to go to the grocery store's right at the end of the street, they drive. And I mean, my brother and his wife, like, consider themselves environmentalists. And like, I do think that there is a certain amount of like, hey, we live in the city, so like we don't have to drive as much, but then you just drive to everything all the time. It's just a little bit weird to me. But also, I mean, if you got kids, it's like a whole, I'm always like, I try to be generous to everybody and not be like, oh, you're just being lazy. Like I know there are people that can't, walk to places and stuff, but like you're right. I truly don't think anybody walks enough. I think, you know, when I talk to people about my walks, you know, there are times when I'm 5 miles away from home on my walk, and they're like, 5 miles, and I'm like, dude, that 5 miles is not like a long walk. You don't even burn like 850 calories on a 5 mile walk. So like, I think people have an outsized idea of the size of a drive, right? Like people don't understand, or maybe don't think much about, like, should I drive or should I walk? I think a lot of people just automatically, if it's, you know, 6 miles, they're just like, or if it's 2 miles, because I'll hear people complaining, like, I did a 2 mile walk, and it's like, dude, if you walked to school growing up, you walked 2 miles. It's not, 2 miles is like nothing. It's not a long walk at all. It's not, it's a 35-minute walk. So like, I know people don't have time and stuff, but that's one thing that I've always been like, tried to believe in, and like, you know, obviously probably one of the worst environmentalist guys in the world. I just try to think of like, should I do this walk? So I know. And that is to say, like, again, with people and their dogs, like, I don't know. All I care about is that, like, we're not like, all I really care about in this world is that we're not torturing animals. And I don't know what that means. You know, in regards to animals, I just don't want to torture them. I don't even know what that means. I don't know, like, what the acceptable amount is or any of that stuff. But I hate to think that, like, there's these dogs in these apartments, and you know, like my parents, they put their dogs in a crate. They're Great Danes in a crate. And it's like, why you even get a dog? Why even have a Great Dane if you're going to put it in a crate? So like, I don't know.
I agree
But
with
also,
that, and I have the same feeling because. Oh, good.
No, I'm also haven't owned a pet I've never owned a pet in my life. I had them growing up, and that's what made me not like pets.
Sure, I agree with that, and like I have the same thing, like the misgivings or whatever about it. But we had a trainer that helped us because, you know, we found a dog on the street, and she even talked to us about like that this dog and its anxiety and all that might be one of these dogs that's happier in a crate. Like, she's honest, and I can't bring myself to do it because I'm like you. I can't see that and think that it's like healthy and good. But according to people who supposedly know better than me, like, some dogs like it. I don't know, but yeah, to me,
I believe it.
Much like torturing them,
like putting them in jail. Yeah,
but
exactly.
Yeah, exactly. I'm an abolitionist, so I don't want to put my dog in jail.
No, I agree. I'm with you. I know people do say that, though. People do say that there are dogs that it's like they would rather be. And to tell you the truth, if I had to say, just for me, Brian, I am. I don't know if this is going to come off as sex talk or something, but I kind of do like tight spaces, I guess. Like not. I don't want to be in like a. I don't want to be in like a dog cage or something like that, but like if it's like chilly outside and people like a lot of people do with the weighted blankets and stuff like that kind of vibe. So I can see dogs having the same kind of vibe, you know?
Right. And I think you've mentioned liking like tight fitted shirts and stuff, right? And the compression stockings.
I wear compression shorts kind of every day. Yeah. Under my clothes, I wear compression shorts. So that makes sense.
Yeah. Gotta hold everything in there.
Thank you.
Okay. Real quick.
For calling.
Okay. Real quick before I head out. One more. The bodily functions. I know it came up, but I feel like sneezing wasn't on the list, and sneezing for me has to be in top 3.
There's a number 2.
Okay. I didn't recall. All right. Perfect. All right.
Nutting, then sneezing.
Right, well, thank you.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for calling.
Awesome. Perfect.
Peace. Yeah, we love to nut. We love to shit. That's just the way things are. Everybody out there loves to nut, and everybody out there loves to shit. And I can't think of two better things to get to do. All right, here we go. Let's get another call in here. Let's do it. Hey, thanks for calling Street Fight. Who am I? Know who I'm talking to tonight. What's up, Hank?
Hey, Brian. It's me, Hank, from Los Angeles.
You're co-hosting the podcast again. Well, you hosted alone. Now you're
doing it.
co-hosting. Yeah, we're doing a show together right now.
Right.
Hank, it's Hank.
It's like Jake and Elroy back together.
Who's Jake
Are
and
those
Elroy?
their names?
Jake and
I don't
Elroy.
know.
Opie
I
and
think that's the
Anthony?
Blues Brothers.
Oh,
No,
God,
think
I don't know. I've
I-
never seen
I'm pretty
that.
sure one is Jake.
Jake
Okay.
and Paul.
Okay.
I was thinking Jake Paul. Jake
Jake and
and
Elroy.
Paul. Yeah.
Could be. Yeah. I was once around a guy who had a puppy Great Dane, like a 6-month-old, and that is a weird mix of energies when you've got the size of a deer with the energy of a puppy. Because this thing freaked out at me because I was carrying like fish tank buckets. I was there to clean their fish tank. So I was this weird dude with a bunch of weird smells. And dogs usually kind of like me, but they get excited by all the arousing odors and by the kind of Labrador pheromones that I put out. So this thing went nuts, and we had to like corral this fucking deer running around. And it all happened inside a funeral home too, to make it all even weirder. So yeah, it's one of my core memories. It's just trying to not have this freaking dog deer, scratch my face with its excitement. So
Yeah.
good animal.
I gotta tell you,
Mhm.
the reason I don't have pets is because I grew up with Great Danes in the house and Newfoundlands. We had Newfoundland dogs too. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of
Oh,
those,
man.
but I come from
Yeah.
a lineage of very white trash people, and we had an above ground pool in our backyard. And it was sick though. Growing up with we were like fucking lifestyles of the rich and famous to our friends, because they would come over and be like, "Damn, dude, a pool." Yeah. And then these Newfoundlands dogs, my parents had it in their head that Newfoundland's big thing is they can swim, and they use them to save people and stuff like that. Oh no. I don't know what I just did. Okay.
Uh-oh.
But
I hear you.
yeah, I don't really know, like I said, I don't really know if that's when I got out of having pets. We had Newfoundlands, they would swim, and then they would come in the house and they would shake the water off, and my house smelled like dogs. And then one day in 9th grade, I went to a thing and school, and a girl that I kind of had a crush on her or whatever. She goes like, "Hey," she goes, "Can I wear your coat?" And I'm like, "Shit, yeah, because that's the thing about like, that's the thing. Like back then, it's like if they wear your coat, if a girl wears your coat, you're kind of dating in a way." And
You're going steady
I said,
almost.
"Yeah,
Yeah. It's pretty,
yeah,"
it's pretty
and
tough.
this
It's pretty
coat,
tight, yeah.
and this coat is like a dream coat. I promise you all that like you would never I promise you that you would never, like, what's the word? I'm trying to think. I promise you that like you would want this coat. It's a starter jacket. It is a San Jose Sharks. It was the San Jose Sharks starter jacket. And she borrowed it.
Like turquoise and black?
So sick. Yeah, it was so sick. And she borrowed it, and then everybody in the class with her said it stinks. She took it off. She had to hide it in a corner of the room and then give it back to me, and then I knew it. So that is why I don't have pets, because a girl said my coat stank in 9th grade.
Yes.
And I never wanted another pet again.
It got the right. I get that. You had like battle dogs. You had sort of like dogs that could have jobs, things that would be intimidating in a children's horror book. You had huge freaky animals in your house, and of course you loved them. I'm not saying you wouldn't, but I can understand why having such large presences, animals. around the home be, and then maybe they took your parents' attention more than you, young little Brian, felt he deserved on the inside. Perhaps there's some therapy issues.
Yeah, I think.
On,
maybe.
Brian.
I hated those dogs though, Hank. Like that's the problem with this,
Fair.
Hank. It's like you were like you probably love those dogs. No, I didn't. I hated them, and I wanted them out of the house. And I couldn't wait to move out. And when I moved out, here's what I go. I ain't never again will I own a pet. And since that day, I've never owned a pet again. So I'm following like the rules of my life.
I think that's fair. I think you deserve it. You deserve to have that boundary respected. I do sort of have a fantasy in my head suddenly of you being like this is the beginning of a romantic comedy, but it's actually you and a dog who are having the romance, and you fall in love with some sort of like cute little 11-pound sweetie Petey that you just can't resist, and maybe at first it forces you to overcome some of that programming from your childhood, or maybe not. Maybe then you end up getting the dog killed and you don't really feel guilty about it, and that would be also an interesting movie.
Well, there's other programming too, Hank, that happened to me, and I'm gonna tell you what this programming was. Cable Guy, 7 years, and people just letting their dogs nibble on me and jump all over me and stuff. That also got me. Like, come on, take care of your fucking dog.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Get your dog off me. Like,
dude,
people, they would always let their dog jump all over me, and they'd be like, it's cute. They just like you. And I'm like, I don't like them. It's not charming to me. It bugs me, and it's making my job harder to do. Because people don't listen, it's your house. You do what you want in your house. But when somebody else is in there, could you please like move them out of the way? I guess, like keep them out of my way.
It's your if it was a human part of the family that was just like pestering you and sniffing at your crotch and grabbing at your stuff and trying to kiss your face, that would be highly inappropriate for them to allow that anybody, for that behavior to continue. Like why it's a dog that is okay. It's weird because dogs are like family, right? Like you're supposed to, we love them like they're part of the family, but they are in a unique category because you can lock them in the basement. Unlike which you shouldn't do to humans, but if a cable guy is over, put the fucking dog in the basement
or out of the basement too. Sometimes because I remember going down in basements where people would
away from the cable.
I remember. Yeah, and I would sometimes go down in people's basements that were just full of dog crap too. I don't know. I just had a lot of I don't like to say this. I'm not like trying to be goofy about it, but I think it's a lot of trauma that I just literally refuse to deal with because I can live without it, And also, kids do get in my experience at that job, the kids got yelled at way worse than the pets. Like the kids would get fucking screamed at if they even talked to me. But the pets, it was just like they just like you. Yeah, let them smell you and they'll go away.
Right.
Oh, that would make me mad.
Totally relate.
So
for 10 years, I did aquariums. So I would go into people's homes, similar to like a cable guy. I'd say a difference would be it rarely was it just like a one-off visit. Usually I got to know people because I'd go back every couple weeks. Generally it was like an ongoing thing. So that's a big difference with the cable guy. So I would get to know people's dogs and stuff. But I had this one intermittent client. They'd call me up every 4 or 5 months, and they had a Rottweiler that was like crazy aggressive, not in a violent sense, but it had this. It didn't like me. You could tell. Like it was curious, but then it just kept a real strict eye on me and would like bark if I came close to it. And I would say I was clearly uncomfortable, and I was like, "Yo, can we maybe not have the dog staring at me like from 6 feet away, like it's a Rottweiler? I'm just in your kitchen trying to clean your 10-gallon freshwater. Would you just let me get this done and get out of here so I don't get mangled by Cerberus over here?" And I didn't say it like that, but and she goes, "Oh, he's okay. He just likes you. He's fine. He just wants to protect." I'm like, I know, but the human being is really uncomfortable by your attack dog that's eyeing him. So, but I relate to what you're saying about being the cable guy, man.
Hank,
I hear you.
I'm about to do.
And I understand
I'm
why
about
you
to
have all those other experiences.
Hank, I'm about to do something that nobody else does. Okay. And here
Have
it
sex
is.
with Hank?
Well, okay, yeah, that I would. I mean, if you needed me to, but I think probably you would want to rather have somebody
while.
better.
Probably.
What was I gonna say?
Right.
What I will say is your job was harder. The aquarium job. Because
okay.
and I want to tell you why. Most people would always just be like they default to their job was harder, right? Yes, I had to carry a ladder. Yes, I had to climb a pole. But most people's houses I went to that had massive aquariums, how do I say this? Were nuts. They were fucking nuts. And like I would walk into a house and see somebody with an aquarium and I'd be like, great. This is going to be a motherfucker. Cause like, it's one of, I gotta say, it's gotta be one of the most expensive hobbies of like, I can't think of, I knew a guy. Okay. And you could be mean to him. He's a Nazi. But I did know a guy now, he wasn't then. I did know a guy that collected fucking what do they call them? It was aquariums, but there were no fish, but there were like all of
tanks,
these
saltwater, fancy saltwaters.
Yes,
Yeah.
there were all these fucking wild looking things in them. None that I ever was like super impressed with, right? It was like always like a thing that looks kind of like a koosh ball, but it's like the things move and stuff like that. There were never any like good octopus or anything in there because they're not animals; they're something else. And would go over there and like just. I don't know if his was cheap or whatever, but it was always a situation with those fucking things. And it was just constant with oh, I gotta change the pH or something like that. I gotta run I gotta this motherfucker. It was so nutty. Hey, A1 ACAP, A1C, it's so hard. A1C3, A1B2 said home espresso machines can be wildly expensive, but maybe less expensive than an aquarium. I have to say that aquariums, I can't think of anything more expensive, really. Like a thing to get into, maybe like guys that are really into cars and have a bunch of them.
Well,
I had a fucking uncle that hated me. I had an uncle that didn't like me because he was a cop and he knew I didn't like cops or whatever. But he collected Corvettes. And it's like, okay, like that's an extremely expensive job thing to be into is Corvettes. But I gotta feel like I think less than Corvettes is aquariums right under that. That's it. That aquarium's got to be the most expensive shit. And I mean Legos. You're talking to a guy that's into Legos.
Right. You could definitely run up the bill on the Legos for sure, but the fundamental deal is that you're basically just adding clutter to your pile, not actually spending money on like living beings and dealing with chemistry and possible electrical fires and all that too. I agree with you as far as the expenses there. I would just say maybe like it's probably the most expensive indoor hobby if you get super into it. You can do aquariums at the smaller sizes and kind of the crappier setups and still waste a bunch of money and probably regret starting the hobby. Because the thing people don't realize is they get themselves all worked up about getting a fish tank and they go down that that blissful rabbit hole when you start to actually anticipate making the purchase and doing all the research. And what they don't realize is it's like signing up for a second job, right? So when I ran an aquarium business, I was basically taking that burden off of people's shoulders, so to speak. So mostly I was working for people who like had money, and like waiting room, businesses that had waiting rooms and things like that too. But so either wealthy people that could afford to pay some jagoff like me to come by every 2 weeks or every week or whatever and deal with their stupid fish tank problems, or you get the hobbyists that are into it that know the cost, and they're the ones online on the forums, you know, talking all day. Like it's a great hobby if you're into it, because it's very kind of scientific, and it's also a mix of art, because you got to decorate it, and there's like a lot of living. I still have a small aquarium. It's like living plants and shrimp. It's very easy. I've basically taken all my experience to set up a tank that I could neglect as much as possible and still have it look great. And that's what I've got right now. So that's my thing. But you're right on that. It's a bizarre, it's a goofy hobby. You can go in all sorts of crazy directions. It can get extremely involved and expensive.
Right. And like, I think like, I don't know. It seems such like, it feels like such a you're like not enjoying these. I feel like you're not really enjoying the fish. You know, I remember when my kid was real young, and we are not allowed to have pets in this house. And if we could, I wouldn't have them anyway, because of, you know, all of my stuff. And I offered, like, let's get an aquarium, and she was like, well, that's not even a pet. It's like, dude, like, it's the only pet you're gonna get. You know what I mean? Like, there isn't gonna be a dog or a cat in this fucking house. But like, it feels like a cold. I guess I'd say it feels cold to me.
It wears off. It wears off. Like, that's the thing people have. So you really got to like figure that, am I still going to want to sit there with my nose up against this thing in 6 months, in 2 years, in 3, in 4, you know what I mean? Like, am I going to actually get it down and enjoy it? Or is it just going to be one of those goddamn things I got to get done before I can, you know, go on a vacation, or, oh crap, now I got to go buy some parts for this thing because it broke, because you got to replace the light bulbs every 18 months or something like that. Although I would say, like, a small tank for a kid is actually, I listen, I'm not a parent, so don't listen to my instincts, but you know, you could learn some responsibility. You know, you'd rather have a few tetras die off because of neglect than a terrier. You know what I mean? So like, if you could still teach a kid, like, oh yeah, you got to feed it this much, you got to do water changes, you got to take care of this thing. So I don't think it necessarily would be a stupid. It's not the dumbest thing I've seen people do in their homes as far as that goes. But there is a window of enjoyment that fades pretty quickly, and that's been my experience.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I guess like that's the thing, is like you're gonna like maybe get to a point where like you're gonna get to a point where the fish is taken care of. You don't really have to fucking do anything to it, you know? And like, is the goal to have something you can stare at? Which I'm not against that. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with wanting to have stuff to stare at, but that seems like the whole game here is like, I'll stare at this thing. And trust me, the aquarium guy I knew did not stare at that aquarium. Like, he just didn't. He didn't. Right. He oh god damn it, you know, getting mad at it and shit because I don't know, the pH is off, or he's got to fucking move it from one aquarium to another aquarium. It was a big redneck situation, so maybe that's not the best sort of thing, but like, he was into reefs, and like, if I had an aquarium, I think that'd probably be what I was into. But like, growing up, my parents, like, we had this is so trashy, I don't know why we had this. We just had a big tank of like goldfish, but not like the small goldfish, the big ones, because I think my parents were kind of like, these are the bigger ones though, so they're nice. You know what I mean? Like, my parents were like flexing with their big fucking goldfish. Yeah, we got the nicer ones, well, you know, the bigger size.
That's the sort of factor about it that I think you haven't mentioned yet, is that for some reason, some people perceive having a nice fish tank as a status symbol. You know, if you build it into the entry foyer, or, you know, people do have sort of aspirational quality, like you're in The Sims or something, and you just want to build out with as many features as you can. You get a fireplace, you get a fish tank, you get the deck, you get the bike spot. I don't know. I don't know what that means, but you know, so there's like that too, that part of like, we're going to show off a little bit because we have this useless box of algae with some life swimming around in it.
Yeah,
a small percentage of people just love to see the little fishy stuff. Yeah.
Right. Nobody in this world, I'm going to tell you this. There is not a human being on this planet that like loves conspicuous consumption, but is also like middle class more than my parents. Like my parents were like, I want everybody to know we have like a bunch of money, but like also didn't have a bunch of money. So I kind of lived a life where it was like growing up, we need to have a fish tank. Well, those are expensive. So we'll get an aquarium, we'll get a fish tank, but we'll buy the cheapest fish we can find. But if people walk in the house, they see a fish tank. And it was the same thing with the pool. It's like, we'll get a pool. Oh, okay, this is great. We got a pool. It's not like an underground pool is a pool, I guess. Above ground pool is not. I mean, it's just I like that they exist because people like my parents that don't have money didn't have enough money to have an underground pool put in. Like, that's great that they have it. But the thing about my parents that is funny is they had it and they thought they were like showing off with it, which was like, that's where I grew up. It was just like very conspicuous consumption, but of the crappiest junk that you can get your hand on. Like, I don't have like good looking stuff in my house, like good looking expensive stuff in my house, but I do have Legos, which isn't fancy. But I'm not trying to get people to come in my house and see how much money I spend. I'm actually like mortified at how much money I've spent on Legos. And my wife is currently downstairs sorting Legos to sell. So, because I won't do it because I'm lazy. And she was like, I'll do it then. Yeah. So I'm going to be selling the Taj Mahal and Ecto 1 very soon.
Okay. Good. That's yeah. I was just thinking as you're talking about your parents, it sounds like what they're doing, and I apply this to lots of different families, not just your folks, but like it's like the more ways that people can drown, the higher the status goes. Like that's sort of the game they're playing. So if you get a hot tub, that's another way someone can drown. An aquarium, you can drown in one if you really try. Okay, hot tub. See, pool, above ground pool. That's another way to drown. I'm trying to think of other ways to drown. A bathtub. I don't even have a fucking bathtub here in my apartment. I got a regular shower. It'd take a lot of work to drown in my shower. I could probably figure it out if I tried. A cold plunge pool for taking ice baths like Tony Robbins. That's another way to drown. So I think the aspiration in life is to kill your friends using water as a sign of access to resources, like some kind of Roman Senate guy or lady. Showing off.
I mean,
people just like to show off ways they can kill their friends.
Yeah, we had a hot tub too, and my parents were really weird about that. Also, like none of our friends were allowed in because they thought they'd mess it up. Like they mess up the fucking hot tub. How the fuck do you mess up a hot tub? I'm just gonna sit in the fucking thing. Okay, that's it.
Right.
I'm just gonna sit in the fucking thing.
Did they let the Newfoundland dog? Did the Newfoundland dog go in the hot tub?
Too hot. The dog didn't want to go in the hot tub. Like I think it had jumped in a few times and was like, I don't think I like this shit. 104 degrees is a little different from a cold pool. Yeah, hot tubs are for swingers. Nobody should have a hot tub.
They are.
Unless, obviously, I'm not kink shaming.
Part of me wants to be a swinger. Is that weird to say out loud? I really kind of want to be a hot tub swinger. I feel like I could do it for like 2 or 3 years, and then I probably would like flame out. I'd probably say the wrong thing, upset the crew or something. But I don't know. I feel like I'd like to give it a try.
I don't like other people enough. Not that I don't like.
I just like hugging.
I don't. I just don't like. I don't want people involved in. I don't want anybody else in the whole world to ever have to see me naked. How's that? That's the way I really feel.
That I understand.
It's like I just don't want to make anybody else ever have to see me naked. Somebody in the chat said there's CBD hot tubs, and there like actually are CBD bath bombs for hot tubs. So if you're looking for something, you should hook. I would do it. I mean, why not?
I would be, but I like to try to like use things to their maximum amount and even past that if I can is sort of my way of assuaging my guilt for destroying the planet with all my consumption. But like, if you have a hot tub filled with your CBD juice or CBD, bomb, aren't you going to end up not absorbing it? Like, why not? I just feel like you're wasting a lot of CBD. I would keep the water for like the whole summer at that point.
People
no,
like
that's
to
a
feel like
CBD
they're
hot tub.
getting
That's magic
CBD.
potion.
People like to
Yeah.
feel like they're doing luxury, Hank. That's the world we live in.
That's true.
All right, I got to take the
gotta try
last
that.
call here, Hank. It's I got to
Okay.
go watch true crime.
Yeah, man. I got a gift for you. I'll call you next week, I think, and then I'll tell you about it. It's a wrestling onesie that comes from Hollywood, and I think it's I got access to it. It's a special thing, and I want to send it to you. But maybe I'll call you next week and tell you about it.
Go for it. Yeah,
accept
anytime. I
this
love wrestling.
Yeah, baby.
All right, Hank.
It's a onesie, though. Okay, buddy. Good chatting. Bye,
All right.
everybody. Love y'all.
Bye. All right, here's our last call for the night. You got about 5 minutes. My back hurts. Thank you for calling Street Fight. I'm Brian. What's up? Oh no, you might be on mute, my friendo. Or they just hung up on me before I could pick up the call because they were on hold for a while and I was fucking farting around with people. Well, I guess the last call is what me and Brett call a skelly tan. So we'll sit here and talk to y'all for a little bit longer. I'm gonna go ahead and hang this up. Hang up the old call room. I'm not gonna plug or nothing. Zoop. You'll hear the zoop sound here in a minute. Boom. All right, we are out of the calls. We're no more calls. Everybody in the chat, CBD bidet. All right, you know what? I'm not against CBD. My house runs on CBD, but it always has a little bit of THC so I can get high. But yeah, bidet is not a rich guy thing. If anybody DMs me and is like, Brian, what's up with this bidet situation? How'd you get so rich that you can afford a bidet? They are less than $100 because let me give you a little bit of advice. I'm not going to read a name of a brand of bidet, but you know the brand that's out there that everybody's fucking way into, right? They sell a warm water and a cold water. Now, you don't need, that's the brand Ginseng Punk. I'm not going to say it though. You don't need the warm water one. Okay. Like you just get the cold water one. Trust me, shooting warm water in your hole is literally the worst possible thing you can do. You do not want to shoot warm water in your hole. It feels weird. You want it ice cold. So there's a little bit of advice for your hole on Street Fight. I really appreciate y'all coming in here. If you know anybody that you can turn on to the Patreon, that would be wonderful. I could use it. And you're all such sweet people. I hope it wasn't too boring with just me. And Wednesday, Brett will be back. And next Sunday, Brett will be back. And, I think on August 3rd, which is a Wednesday, we're going to start like an hour early because I'm going to Dynamite that night. But, it's good to talk to all of you. The chat, you've been incredible. And, Jason got it all taken care of. And I really appreciate everybody being so nice. And I'm going to bed. Bye.